Hello everybody. Hopefully you've now learned a little bit about how colors are represented in binary. And I wanted to walk through making a filter together just so that you understand how to download it and use the framework. So I'm going to start by actually cloning the repository and making a new project. If you know how to do this, you can go ahead and do it yourself and kind of skim ahead in the video until we get to the code part, which is the interesting part. For everybody else, here's my terminal. And remember, first you have to go and find your workspace. So for me, it's in the D drive. And I think mine is in, where is it? What the? Oh, yeah. All right, so David, Java Workspaces, APCS 2017 APCS. Okay, so here's my workspace. And now I'll type git clone, and then I'll paste that URI. I will not paste it because I didn't cut it. Okay, here, let's try this again. So I will cut the URI, and now git clone, and I'll paste it. Great. There we go. So now you should see that it says image filter project was the folder that got created in that process. So I'm going to create a project whose name is exactly this, image filter project. So back here in Eclipse, I'll make a new Java project called image filter project. It should say that the wizard is going to automatically configure the JRE. If you don't see this message, something has gone wrong. Do not click finish, go back and do it all over again. I do see the message, so I'll click finish. And there's a bunch of things to see in here. So there's a bunch of black and white images that are JPEGs, and here's some color images, although you're not going to use colors until later in the week. There's an example filter here in the filters package called H for horizontal and then flip black and white. And then this is the rest of the framework. So let's take a look at a couple of things. Well, actually, I guess let's run it first to kind of see what it looks like. So if you run the image lab file, you see this sort of bare bones GUI. So you can go to File, Open, and then, you'll click Images, and you'll select some black and white image, like, oh, cat. Okay, cat. And then you can click Horizontal Flip, and there it has created a horizontally flipped version of the original cat. So that's like kind of mildly interesting. Okay, so here's what you're going to be doing. Let's look step by step at what this filter is actually doing, and then let's try and write our own filter that will let you practice the same ideas. So go ahead and open horizontal flip black and white. All right, so every single filter you make needs to go inside the filters package, and each class needs to implement the image filter interface. You can look at the interface either by double-clicking on, where to go, image filter, or you can control-click, or I think on Macs it's command-click here, and that will open it up. So every single image filter needs to have a filter method, it needs to have a get image provider method, and it needs to have a get menu label method, because this is used automatically to put it in the menu for the GUI. The idea of an image provider is just a class that's sort of a wrapper for the image itself. So the image provider object, you can ask that object to give you the array of all of the pixels, and you can also ask it for some other things, but we're not going to be doing that. So the idea of your filter method, this is where all of the logic's going to go. This is where you actually loop over all the pixels in your input image that you can ask the input image provider for. And then you're going to be creating a new image provider called filtered image. So let's kind of look at that. We've got this image provider as input. How do you actually get the image? Well, the image provider has a method where you can say get black and white image. That's going to return a two-dimensional array of short. Remember, short is just like an int, only its range is 0 to 255. So these are just kind of helper variable names so that we don't have to have this ugly im.length. We can just refer to the height of the image or the width of the image. And then you're going to be creating a completely new image of pixels. So you need to make a completely new two-dimensional array, which I've called new image, that should have the same size as the old image. Well, probably it should have the same size as the old image. If you wanted to make filters that make your image larger or smaller, you would make the new image a different size. Okay, then we're going to loop through the original image. So we're looping over all the rows and all the columns in a pattern that is now familiar to you. And we're going to take the old pixel and do something to it and save it into the new pixel. In this case, all we're doing is mirroring it horizontally. So we're just taking sort of the mirror image column and assigning it to call. But if we wanted to do something to the actual color values, or in this case black and white values, we would take this image, we would take this array element, which is just a number between 0 and 255, and then we would do something to that number and then save the results into the new image. Okay, so once you actually have filled your new image array with pixel values, you got to make a new image provider. So you can do that by instantiating it in the normal way. But then you have to set its image as this array that you just created. So there's a method for that, set black white image, and you set it to be whatever your array is. And that's it. Typically at the end, we're going to actually have the image provider, that's the filtered image, show itself by running the showPix method. All right, so let's give it all a try. As an example, let's create a new image filter that will make the whole image darker by taking each pixel value and dividing it by 2. So I think a good thing to do is to copy this existing one that works, and we can call this, well, let's just call it test, because it's not going to be very interesting and we probably don't want to do anything fancy with it. So let me think, what do I want to keep, what do I want to change? So I want to keep this variable, I want to keep that I'm getting the black and white image from the input, I want to keep all this. I guess the only thing I really want to change is what's happening as I'm looping over the image. So I think I'm going to assign this to a temporary variable called val, because that's my pixel value. And then I'll say value equals value divided by 2. And then I'll say new image at row column equals val. Oh, you know what? I don't want to do this mirroring though, so I'm just going to get the value from my input array at row column. I'm going to divide it by 2, and then I'm going to save it to my output array. Okay, what's it complaining about here? Type mismatch, cannot convert from int to short. Cool. Nope, that was a wrong guess. So, well, we could use bit shifting actually. Well, let's not use bit shifting. Let's just cast it to short. All right, great. So I think everything's in order. The only thing I need to change now is I should change the menu label. This isn't called horizontal flip. This is called test darken. And then I'll change, this is the title that it will display with. So test darken. All right, let's just make sure everything's now in order. So I'm going to run ImageLab again. And this time under filter, I see test darken. So first I'm going to open a file. Let's open this other cat. All right, cool. Test darken, and there we go. It looks like all of the brightness values have been halved, just the way that we expected. Great. So that's a relatively simple filter. For today and maybe tomorrow, you're only going to be doing black and white filters just to get yourself used to this process. And then we'll make some color image filters after that. Good luck.